Are people obsessed with Lori Harvey? I mean, if they are, it's honestly very easy to see why. She's beautiful and wealthy, and she's seemingly going across Hollywood and the music industry, breaking the hearts of the hottest bachelors. She lives a life that most people could only dream of. But when did this admiration go from harmless to obsession? Hi, I'm Beverly Hamilton, and you're watching my It Girl series. If you want to see my future videos in this series and my other series, hit the subscribe button to follow along. I find it very interesting that someone like Lori Harvey is capable of eliciting such a strong emotional response from people, considering that she rarely speaks or interacts with her followers on social media. I think it would be interesting and worth exploring her rise to fame and examining how her alleged actions have evoked this phenomenon of obsession, not only amongst women but men as well. So let's go back to 2016. So around 2016, 2017 is when Lori Harvey would make her debut into the public eye, and it began actually by her attending fashion events with her mother Marjorie. She made her runway debut in 2016 walking for Dolce & Gabbana, and for me, I follow fashion, so this was actually my introduction to Lori, as well as a lot of people's introduction to Lori. She would go to these fashion events and these runway shows with her mother. She would get photographed on the red carpets going in or on her way in and out of shows and events, and a lot of people took notice to her style and really liked it, and that's where she kind of built her very small following at the beginning. I would say when she was a bit more known to the general public was in 2016 when she started dating a soccer player named Memphis Depay. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. And then she would later get engaged to him in 2017. 2017 is also the year Lori Harvey would attend her first Met Gala. But overall, 2016, 2017 were relatively quiet years for Lori Harvey, but important nonetheless because they established two things that Lori Harvey would be known for, which are her fashion and her dating life. These 2 years are when her digital footprint kind of expanded. Fashion blogs began featuring her for her looks at events and parties and at runway shows, and then traditional media outlets began posting her because of her engagement to the soccer player. So I think that these were two very important things because one, it kind of solidified her legitimacy in the fashion world, and two, it kind of proved that even back then people were very interested in her personal life. And so that brings us to 2018. 2018 marks Lori's rise to fame and popularity, not only according to Google Trends, but also Vogue magazine. In 2018, Lori Harvey was dubbed American Royalty on the Rise by Vogue, and Harvey appeared at more events and more red carpets than the previous years. She eventually broke off her engagement. This is the year where she starred in campaigns for Pat McGrath, and she accepted a Daytime Emmy Award on behalf of her adoptive father, Steve Harvey. This is also the year that Lori Harvey would receive a shout out in the song by Meek Mill featuring Drake called Going Bad. 2018 is also the year where she allegedly began dating Justin Combs. This is of course unconfirmed, and I think that's a very important thing to note throughout this whole video is a lot of the relationships that Lori Harvey was in or rumored to be in. She very rarely has confirmed or even spoke about most of them. But of course we know that doesn't matter. It's like the media and blogs, because they realized as early as 2018 that Lori Harvey kind of had the same effect as the Kardashians. And by that I mean she had clickability. So if they put Lori Harvey's name in the title, they would get clicks. And then from those clicks, of course, they would get ad revenue. So, clicks equal money. Yeah. And during this time period and up until I would say 2021, you could even see this on YouTube. If someone had a relatively smaller following, but they make a video with Lori Harvey, during that time period, it was most likely going to be one of their most viewed videos, if not their most viewed video. We'll actually come back and touch on that a little bit more later on in the video, but Lori Harvey actually spoke about this in an interview with Pretty Little Thing.
Especially revolving relationships. Do you ever just get frustrated with the constant headlines?
It's definitely frustrating. I think I've developed tough skin through it all, and you kind of just have to learn that if someone wants to think the worst of you, they're gonna think the worst of you no matter what you say, and you can't defend a lie. They say allegedly or rumored, and I don't think there's an article you can find about me that doesn't have the word alleged or rumored in it because there's no confirmation, and they don't care to fact check. So they're like, if it's gonna make people click on it, it's gonna make us money, and we're gonna print it. So that's the frustrating part because you're actually dealing with someone's real life.
Exactly.
But they don't care. They just want the clicks. And people kind of believe anything.
Didn't even know they had a podcast until I was doing research for this video. But I really want to mention this and mention her dating rumors throughout this video because they were very pivotal to Lori Harvey's ascension into popularity. Okay, so back to the timeline. We're in 2018. Later on that year, she then allegedly began dating R&B artist Trey Songz. By the way, this picture of Lori Harvey trying to duck the paparazzi in December 2018 is really funny. I remember when it came out, I was cackling in my room. But after those photos came out, Lori and Trey Songz went public with their relationship. This was actually what led to Lori's first mini scandal. So when these pictures came out, Future actually responded to them with this.
You ducked too late. I see you. I like that. It's cute. Cute. Keep it up.
Which was kind of insinuating that Lori may or may not have had a rotation going on. But this relationship between Trey Songz and Lori Harvey would be her first big introduction to the online blogs and gossip sites, which include Twitter, Lipstick Alley, and the infamous Shade Room, which began featuring Lori Harvey regularly to their audience of now over 20 million followers. But this is when you can see the garnering of her fan base expand. It was still relatively small at the time, but her fans, even though small, you could see that they were very much worshiping and praising her dating habits. Lori Harvey would go on to date Trey Songz for the rest of 2018, and her fame would continue to rise this year, and you can see the building of that cult following. Many would view the photos that Lori Harvey and Trey Songz would post as dating goals, and they began to follow her due to her lavish lifestyle and her lavish gifts that she was receiving and showing on Instagram. And you can actually see this reflected in Google Trends at the time, because previous year you could see Lori made small waves, but then around the time where she started dating Trey Songz, you see an upward rise in her Google searches. Okay, so fast forward a little bit into 2019. This will be the explosive year for Lori Harvey. The quiet times were officially behind the sought-after socialite. After Trey Songz and Lori Harvey split ways, rumors began to swirl that she had a fling with rapper and business mogul Sean Combs, aka P. Diddy, aka I think he has another name, but I'm not sure what it is, who was the father of Lori Harvey's rumored ex, Justin Combs. So yeah, the internet went feral, as to be expected, and media outlets and blogs began picking up the story, and it just kind of spread like wildfire, which is a fitting simile because the hot takes really began to fly during this time period. Although Lori Harvey very, very rarely spoke publicly or did interviews or interacted on social media, many people took to their keyboards to express their either disgust or admiration for her alleged dating habits. This alleged affair would take Lori Harvey's fame to even higher heights. In 2019, Lori Harvey would actually appear in Normani's solo debut music video for Motivation, which at the time it was a huge deal. By the way, I think I may do an It Girl episode about Normani, so subscribe. This year, she would become an ambassador for Pretty Little Thing. She would show up at even more exclusive parties and events, and eventually in 2019, she would begin dating rapper Future, which is where I would say a good majority of people started paying attention to Lori Harvey. So at this point, most people, specifically within the Black community, knew the name Lori Harvey. And by 2020, Lori Harvey seemed to have the world eating out of the palms of her hands. These photos of Lori Harvey celebrating her 23rd birthday in pure luxury with fellow It Girls Normani, Jordan Woods, Tiana Taylor, and Ryan Destiny went viral on Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest. Tutorials on how to achieve Lori Harvey's makeup, hair, or even body multiplied across platforms, and women began emulating her style and putting her on their vision boards. But what really solidified Lori Harvey's fame and permanent spot in the public consciousness was her breakup with Future and subsequent relationship with A-list award-winning actor Micheal B Jordan. So yeah, 2020 was a pretty big year for Lori Harvey. But 2021 marked the height of Black femininity coaches. So feminine coaches are people who mostly online emphasize performing femininity. They focus on how a woman who wants to be feminine should dress, behave, and navigate through society, but specifically emphasize how to perform femininity while dating. Now, the femininity coach movement started off as something pretty harmless, but oh my God, did it change. it transformed into something that most of the time really reinforced archaic gender roles and, you know, had a heavy hand of classism sprinkled in there. And Lori Harvey was their queen. YouTube and TikTok were littered with videos informing women on how to be the prize, how to level up or be feminine like Lori Harvey. Because Lori Harvey appeared to be the girl that every man wanted and every girl wanted to be, using Lori Harvey to perpetuate certain gender roles and colorism, classism, yada yada yada, meant bank for these feminine coaches. Because like I mentioned, if you had a small channel and you did a video about Lori Harvey or did a video saying how you should be more like Lori Harvey, that was most likely your most viewed video. What did we say earlier in the video? Clicks equal money. So along with blogs and gossip sites, you also had social media sites like YouTube and TikTok throwing their hat in the ring. People talked about Lori Harvey a lot in 2021. You can see a huge spike in Google Trends. And even though most people had not even heard her speak before, every move that she made was either idolized or scrutinized. And her silence even fueled projection and speculations. 2021 would be the year of obsession. People were obsessed with what she ate, what she wore, how she walked, how she talked, how she didn't talk. And because she began dating a high-profile actor, paparazzi would begin following her even more. Men with podcasts began to talk about how Black women should never be like Lori Harvey, while simultaneously telling Black women that they should be more like Lori Harvey. I mean, just go on TikTok, YouTube, or even Twitter, and you'll find thousands of videos and posts about her. And by no means did Lori Harvey squander this newfound level of fame. She launched her skincare brand named Skin, did even more fashion campaigns, attended fashion shows front row, walked on even more red carpets, and attended some of the hottest parties of that year, and she even evolved fashion-wise. Let me make it to 2022. Yeah. 2022, Lori Harvey's popularity had grown beyond the Black community. In 2022, Lori Harvey made waves throughout the entire year, but her influence was absolutely unquestionable after this happened at the 2022 Met Gala.
What's the trick to these abs? I'm like, I just need to start myself eating more. It's Pilates. It's Pilates. Change my mind. Normani just told us Pilates, so we all need to be doing it.
Droves of women ran to Pilates studios, selling out classes and causing a resurgence in the popular workout. A soundbite of Lori Harvey from the Met Gala began to trend on TikTok, causing Pilates to trend not only on TikTok, but also on YouTube. She also was signed to a new management agency and I believe a modeling agency, but I'll have to double check that. So yeah, the Lori Harvey obsession was very real in 2022. I also might do a video on the Pilates hype of 2022 because I also find that extremely interesting, so keep an eye out for that one as well. Shortly after Lori Harvey and Micheal B Jordan would split, which spurred even more think pieces and hot takes about the socialite. Months after the ex-couple's breakup, they would still be a hot topic, constantly being brought up across multiple social media sites. New videos, articles, podcasts, and posts were coming out daily about their breakup at a Kardashian-Jenner rate. Post-breakup, Lori began gaining the attention of fellow it girls like Bella Hadid and Kylie Jenner, which makes sense since around this time she signed with IMG Models and WME. There was a time period of calm between 2022 and 2023. That was until speculation started to arise that she was dating another actor, Damson Idris. Okay, so now that we've gotten a little history out of the way and we kind of know when the Lori Harvey obsession started, so now I kind of want to pose the question as to why are people so fascinated with Lori Harvey in this way at such a concentrated amount? I think there are definitely like the more obvious answers. Like one, she's just a rich socialite, and I think that society in general is just very infatuated with rich socialites. She walks in very exclusive circles and she lives a very lavish lifestyle. She has wealthy and famous friends and famous family. But I think that if we dive a little bit deeper, I want to say that Lori Harvey kind of captures something that has been lost in the age of social media, which is kind of like this mystery mystique. Lori Harvey has never been the type to constantly tweet to constantly post photos or engage in drama online. She very much maintains an unbothered facade. Unlike a lot of the mysterious people who we have in today's era, her silence seems to add even more fuel to the obsession. And I think the reason why I kind of like grapple with this question of, is it a Lori Harvey obsession or is it just a parasocial relationship, is because while there are like sprinklings of obsession and parasocial relationships, I really feel like the proper term to describe this would be like a vicarious relationship. And I know what you're thinking, isn't that just another term for like a parasocial relationship? Well, no, not exactly, because a parasocial relationship is when you feel like you know someone, when you feel like that person is your friend or your family just through engaging with their content online. This feels different than that. You know, vicarious is just like sharing in someone else's experiences through the use of imagination or sympathetic feelings. That's why I feel like there's this one-sided vicarious relationship happening with Lori Harvey and the people within the public. Lori Harvey's life is being treated as this sort of your name insertion fan fiction. Women will insert themselves as the main character, i.e. Lori Harvey. And interestingly enough, men will insert themselves as the supporting character or the second lead, i.e. the men that Lori Harvey dates. It's a sensation that I personally haven't seen, at least not at a level like this. Because Lori Harvey doesn't engage with social media or speak about her private life publicly very often, there is like this space where instead of people filling in those gaps with like rumors or gossip like they would traditionally and normally do with celebrities and socialites and public figures, they are actively putting themselves in that gap, like a fan fiction. People really want to live in Lori Harvey's world, and the way that they live through her, it reminds me of maladaptive daydreaming. I bring this up because you know how when people have these maladaptive daydreams, they disassociate with reality and they absorb themselves completely in their daydream. I don't think it's that extreme. I think it kind of describes the intensity of this vicarious relationship that people are engaging in regarding Lori Harvey. And I really do find it extremely fascinating that people are so deeply invested in Lori Harvey's life that they are actively inserting themselves in a way that I think is actually seriously unhealthy. Because when she does something that doesn't align with this narrative or with this daydream that they've conjured up in their minds, they get very upset, unreasonably upset. For example, when Lori Harvey and Micheal B Jordan did have their breakup, people had such a strong visceral emotional reaction because it didn't line up with this fantasy that they created in their mind. So I guess I will pass the question to you, dear viewer. Do you think there's a Lori Harvey obsession? I'm not really sure, but if it is, simply put, we are obsessed with Lori Harvey because we want to be Lori Harvey. Thank you for watching. I'm Beverly Hamilton. If you like this video and you want to see more, hit the subscribe button, give it a thumbs up. This was a really fun video to make and research. Can't wait to do more. If there are any other it girls out there that you would like me to cover or characters in media that you would like me to cover, you can put that down in the comment section for consideration. And with all that being said, I will see you guys next Friday.